In this video, you will learn about citation placement. To help with APA, I've put together a few paragraphs to help you understand some of the formatting. So please pay careful attention to the period and comma placement. So your first sentence in a paragraph, it's generally going to be an overview of the paragraph. And this means that you're not always going to include a citation here at the end. However, the first moment that you're going to include that outside information, and remember, even if it's just a paraphrase, you're still going to need to provide an in-text citation. And again, just an overview, you're going to have the author's last name and the year. So if you keep continuing with the same author's information here, you're not going to need to continue providing the same citation right here, as long as it's understood that you're talking about the same source. So you might do this by saying according to the same article, or you could even mention the author's name in the flow of your sentences if that fits in with what you're writing. But you're not going to need to provide this full citation until later. So you might toggle between different sources, and you're going to need that different author's last name and the year. But this means that if you switch back to the other source that you were previously discussing, you're going to need to re-provide that original citation. So again, you would give the author's last name and the year. So that would be the full citation. And then remember that if you have a page number that's required, if you're including a direct quotation from a book or a journal article, you're going to have that page number included afterwards. So sometimes it'll be attached here, sometimes it's going to stand on its own, and it really just depends on the flow of your sentences. When you start a new paragraph, you're going to need to re-provide a new citation, and that's just to remind your reader that you're still talking about the same source. So again, there's the author's last name and there's the year. So again, here you can just continue talking about the source's information, and you might decide to go ahead and add your own commentary, personal opinion, personal examples, just to add to that source's information. However, if you've done something like that, and once you're finished with your own input, and you want to go back to the source's information, you need to re-provide a citation. So here's the author's last name again, and there's the year. So what happens with citation placement when you're citing an online source? This typically follows a similar format. So here you can see that if it's an overview, you're not going to have a citation. Here you're going to have the author's last name and the year again. However, sometimes online sources don't have authors. So here's a quick example of using the article title with quotations, the comma on the inside, and the year. If you provide direct quotations from a website, you're going to need a paragraph number. So instead of those page numbers, you need a paragraph number. Again, sometimes this will be placed at the end of here, and sometimes it stands alone. It really just depends on the structure and where you have your direct quotation. Please note that page numbers and paragraph numbers won't always stand in parentheses by themselves, and I've showed you a little bit of this earlier. So if you had a direct quotation in the sentence, and so here's an example from a website with the website title, the year, and then here's the paragraph number attached right there. Here's another example from a book source. So if you had a direct quotation within the sentence, you would have the author's last name, you would have the year, and then the page number. So this kind of bunching occurs when you include a direct quotation in places where you also need to include the author or the article title and the year. However, it's still important to remember that sometimes page numbers and paragraph numbers will be by themselves, as demonstrated in the above paragraphs. So the paragraphs that we previously mentioned, you saw some examples where the paragraph and the page numbers were by themselves. So if you need more help with that, go ahead and refer back to that example. So this has been an overview of citation placement. Please note that instructors may have different preferences for citation placement. Some professors want a little bit more citations than other professors. So be sure to check with your instructor if you have any questions on this.